They say adversity is the biggest deposit in your bank account, and I am 100% an example of that. The gentleman that I'm interviewing for you today not only is someone that I had the privilege to work with for the last 30 days, maybe 5 weeks, and we're collaborating together on creating not only his brand, his movement that I genuinely believe in, but I have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about who he is and some of his background and the impact that he's about to be creating. I've been gifted over the years by the ability to identify opportunity and a star when I see one. And ladies and gentlemen, this individual not only has experience, not only has a huge amount of heart, and he is the kind of person who will always figure it out and say, I will get it done. Today, we have a premiere brand new interview, the very first one that he's doing in the beginning of his track to what I believe will be greatness. We talked about this moment, he and I, yesterday. I said, sometimes when we become successful, we look back and we say, a year ago, if you told me I would be here, I'll tell you you're crazy. Well, this is the moment that everybody's going to be witnessing the birth of a superstar. I understand adversity and I welcome it with open arms. My man says, hold my beer because I'm going to use it to my greatness. This is the ME Show.
Drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor, all eyes on me. Who is he? Man, you better come get your girl dog. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be. All eyes on me,
all eyes on the prize, money supersized. G5 super fly, should be supervised. Do or die, open up your eyes, head to the sky. Keep a mean bad mommy on the side. Make a tsunami, kamikaze on the mind. Spit flow, paparazzi flash shine. Get dough, champagne, Merlot. Cash and tango, in the VIP. Now she wanna touch her ankle. Get low, mueve mami como el dembow. All eyes on me, peeping through the window. Get mine, get yours, believe it or not. In the meantime, I'ma keep my eyes on the
all
top.
eyes on me, drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor. All eyes on me, who is he? Man, you better come get your girl dog. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world, wherever you may be, my name is Ali Medawi, and I am your host with the Avocado Toast on this exclusive world premiere and brand new interview for the gentleman that I've been just bragging to you about. Do me a favor, let me know what part of the world are you chiming in from, what platform, are you on YouTube, are you on LinkedIn, are you on Facebook, are you on Twitch, are you on Twitter, are you in a group, are you on a page? That's right, we are all over as we speak right now, and I want you to get the love that you desire and deserve, so let me know in that comment who you are, where you're chiming in from, and if you are an entrepreneur, that's even a bonus because we can collaborate in many different ways. So today we have Jeremy Young with us, who's doing his premiere, and I pray to God that you listen because you will be learning a whole lot of nuggets from this gentleman. You will be learning on how he utilized and leveraged anything that you would consider trauma into greatness, scars into blueprints. He created a path to himself. He knows with his better half and beautiful wife exactly what they want, and they are absolutely 100% going for it. So ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor. Give a whole lot of virtual love to the one and only Jeremy Young. What's going on, boss?
Oh, thank you, Ali. I feel it. I can feel the love. It's awesome.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. So let's dig right into it. I would love for you if you can take a moment and tell the people a little bit about you, your story, and how did you get into this entrepreneurial journey that you are in right now?
Okay. I think it all started, when I was very young. My whole family has started a business on some level or another, so it was pretty much ingrained in me. When I got out of college, I couldn't find a job in my major, and I was bartending. So, it took me quite a few years to make more money in my major than I made while bartending, but that's a whole nother story. So I couldn't find a job, so I started my job, and I founded a laboratory, an analytical testing laboratory, and ran that for 15 years. And over that course of time, I've learned so much about environmental science, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we consume, all of our ambient environment and how it impacts people. Over that course of time, we have helped so many thousands improve their health just from the environmental factors that they're exposed to every day that for many people that didn't even occur to them. that
That's
something could
amazing.
be impacted in that way. So my lab was very successful, and it went for quite a long time. And I sold it to a national lab after I got sick. And when I got sick, I just couldn't run it anymore. So it was time for me to move on from an external thing and look internal, because was always told that when you get sick, you go to the doctor, and the doctor makes you better. So I did that. I followed that advice, and the doctor's medications definitely helped immediately my symptoms. But over the course of time, I never got any better. As a matter of fact, I only got a little bit worse. And so I tried to explore options to actually improve my health. And I found that the medical community was not receptive. They had no more advice. So I had to look at alternative and holistic approaches, sometimes, thousands of years old technologies that we've forgotten about. I just basically started learning and applied that analytical mind and that ability to connect the dots on my own, and took it upon myself to heal myself. And I think that was the biggest step in my journey in a long time, making that decision.
I love that, by the way, and which tells me a whole lot about who you are. We talk about like he'll always figure it out, he'll always get it done, right? So it's interesting, especially from a wellness professional like yourself. Most of the time, a wellness professional will stick with the traditional educational new Western world, right? Medication or specific treatments and whatnot. But you went a different route. It tells me a lot about your personality. You're not the kind of person who just accepts anything that is thrown at him. He's always trying to figure out, well, let me actually dig a little bit into it, which is good because, unfortunately, the society and the world that we are in right now, or today overall at least, is more of a conformity type of society, right? Like, I'm just going to do what everybody's doing. I'm just going to take the vaccine because everybody did, or I'm just going to say no to the vaccine because my circle of everybody said absolutely not, and so on and so forth. But I appreciate that you take the time and make your own decisions. Now that transitioned into a career change, and a career change that you weren't per se prepared for nor comfortable with. So let's dig into that, because it takes a whole lot to be like, I'm gonna do something totally different that I've never done before, that I'm extremely uncomfortable with. And I ask you to share that experience of that transition and how you actually made it, because there is someone right now that may be watching and may say, I'm sick and tired of where I am and I want to change, but that fear of change is what's holding that person back. So tell us a little bit about, what was that point or that turning point that took you from what you were doing traditionally, other than being sick, to going a totally different route?
Okay, I think it really comes down to the love of myself. It was really the reason that I left the high-paying corporate job and I went all in, no matter what. I don't care if I make another dollar, because it's not going to do me any good when I'm in the ground. And that realization hit me one day when my health was just deteriorating constantly. I felt the worst I've ever felt. And I said, there has got to be a change. So started learning, started talking to anyone who would listen, and met so many people over the last several years that are just healers. They just heal. They have specific niches. Sometimes they're very acute with their knowledge. Sometimes they're very broad. But I think in this world, Ali, it really is all who you know. It really is all who you know. So once you start stepping out of your comfort zone, you're
I think we're getting a little lag. Technology is amazing when it works, but yet again, upsetting when it does something like this. Let's see if we get Jeremy back on the feed. It looks like he froze for a second. Uh, the one thing that I admire about this gentleman, and you're gonna hear in just a little bit, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but the amount of trauma. So I've gone through a whole lot of trauma. Many of you who I have relationships with, or many of you who have ever watched me, I'm very open about my past. I'm very open about, child molestation that I've experienced, physical and sexual abuse that I unfortunately experienced as a 5 and a 7-year-old. I talked about, poverty. I talked about, parental, going from having mom and dad to just having mom to just having dad and stepmom, and then having stepmom. Dad, mom and stepdad. It was just very dysfunctional, and a lot of self hate came from that. But it also was the biggest assistance that I believe I have had as, not only an entrepreneur, but also a human being. I've used that pain, I've used the struggles, I've used the sorrow, I've used those pain points to bring me back to the best version of myself, to allow me to understand that the things that I have gone through were simply there to prepare me for the greater things that I am experiencing today. The things that were bad were just preparing me to help many, thousands of other individuals who have gone or are currently going through what I've gone through in certain shape, form, or way. And by going through that pain, I was able to show them how to get out of it, because I have, myself. On the other hand, when your back is against the wall, or when you're rock bottom, and you'll again hear some of that, God willing, we get Jeremy back on the feet, was a huge, huge, huge component for me as a human being, for understanding it can't get any worse than this, so we only go up from here. And in many cases, unfortunately, many people don't see life that way. One thing that Jeremy had mentioned was that, the breaking point for him that led him to do a total career change. Now, he's still an entrepreneur, he still works for himself, but he's no longer in the laboratories. He's no longer doing the traditional business owner thing that most people see as successful businesses. And nothing against that, like, to each his own. It just wasn't a path for him. Was that it was self-love. He realized that I love myself too much to just kill myself for the sake of maintaining multiple six figures of revenue a year. That was, again, by the eyes of the masses, a successful business, but by his standards, it was a one-way ticket to the ground in an astronomical, speedy way. And this is why I learned a lot from him, though I have the privilege to mentor him on a daily basis and collaborate and help him create his business and his company and his brand. It is so incredibly important for you and I to have a major takeaway. Is what you and I are doing right now the best thing for us right now? Whether it's financially, whether it's health-wise, whether it's relationship-wise, whether it's from an ecosystem that we are existing in, from a stress level, from experiences level, like, what are we doing with what we have in our lives right now? My wife and I made a decision about 2 weeks ago that we have dropped one of our clients, and it was a healthy, 5-figure check on an every single month basis. And we could have milked the clock, right? We could have just said, let's not say anything and just drag it as much as possible. But we had certain standards that, though we were able to maintain the business element and the growth element and the deliverables that we had to do, we could not see ourselves morally and stress-wise either coexisting in that environment. So we've exited and removed ourselves from what I believe an environment that would have been extremely, extremely, tough for us. So I share this with you again to allow you and I to be able to come back. Let's see if I got Jeremy back. Jeremy, you there? See if you can open your mic and camera again, please. Mr. Jeremy Young. Uh-oh, we got some? Just hit up that camera again. Are you muted? You unmuted? I don't see you. I have a dark screen and I don't hear you. So maybe if you want to use a computer, change the device with the same link and you can come back to us. But I don't see or hear you. You're having technical difficulties, unfortunately. But I'll be waiting for you. So the other thing that I can't wait for you to hear is the trauma that a human being goes through, unfortunately, as we grow older, becomes our identity, right? Like at one point, I had so much shame of the childhood that I had, whether it was from the molestations and sexual abuse, or whether it was the fact that I felt that my parents didn't want me, right? Like the idea that this, at first 7 or 8 years old, was left behind by his father. it messed with my head because I had a very close relationship, and I do today, thank God. But I'm just sharing with you, so give you some context. And then mom decided, hey, I'm gonna go to the United States. Now her intentions were, I'm gonna go for the American dream and give you guys the better life that you desire and wish for, right? In my mind, this woman that actually was still the only source of love just said, peace out, I want nothing to do with you. That's how it translated in my head. And then I go back and I meet stepmom, which is the very first time I have this beautiful human being in my life, which in her mind, I'm taking in these children and I'm going to make them my own and nurture them. But again, in my head, you are not my mom. Why are you talking to me like you are my mom? I want my mom. And then it just created this very weird friction and challenges and issues over the years for me as a child slash toddler slash teenager, and it just became bitter and angry. So the level of trust was gone. I had a hard time trusting people. By the way, mom, father, mama, stepdad, I have one buy one get one free. I have both of sets of my parents back into my life. Everybody's happy, healthy, and excited. We share a lot together. Are we back?
I think we're back. Can you hear me?
We are back. Yes, I hear you loud and clear. So the point being is all of those pieces of trauma that I believe I had have turned me into the human being that I am. I show compassion and empathy to other individuals. I'm more willing to understand instead of be quick to judge when somebody's having a bad day, because no one knew the crap that I had in my head and the dirt and the ugliness that I had in my heart that made me at one point unrelatable, bitter, angry, not trustworthy, and so on and so forth. So Jeremy, welcome back, my guy. Yes. I'm glad we got the technology part figured out. So let's do this. I would love if we can change gear a little bit and talk about, a little bit of the business identity that you have, because that kind of is derived from who you are. So why don't you share with everybody a little bit about who do you help, how do you help them, and of course the results that you would create should they work with you.
Sure. And, I heard most of what you said, Ali, and
no, without that.
Dealing with adversity our whole lives. I mean, this live is full of adversity and we still conquer, right? You just always got to find a way. Put yourself first and make sure you are the most important thing in the world. That's my message to everyone out there. And the reason why I started this and did this is to share love and to spread love and to tell everyone that they matter. And that there's someone, little old me, and I know Ali and many others like-minded like us share the same support for you. We want to see you succeed, and we're all going to join hands, and we're going to get there together. So you are not alone. People are there to help you. And we are the conduit for that. You don't see positivity as much in the world today. You don't see people helping people as much in the world today. But let me tell you, that community is vibrant and it's growing. And it seems like the like-mindedness is going to help us improve our planet, our way of life, our personal health. So my journey got started years ago when nothing else was working. And I got a gift certificate from my dear aunt, Susie, to try an acupuncturist. And that turned me on to alternative ways of healing. And that acupuncturist profoundly changed my life and set me on a path and introduced me to other people. When she couldn't take me any further, she would recommend another professional to help me move farther. And through that networking of people, I have healed myself and have helped heal others who had no idea it was available. So my idea is to provide these people and these techniques to the general public that don't otherwise have a means to even know they exist. One of my favorite things is we also had the ability, we had the good fortune of meeting some very high level scientists, very high level research scientists that have made miraculous medical discoveries that is over in research land. It's in all the research hospitals. It's in all the research universities. And I've joined a team that is creating the mechanism to make that research knowledge available to the general public and to general practitioners and doctors in our country and worldwide. that has normally doesn't exist. Things are discovered on the research side every day, and you never hear about them because there's no mechanism to get it to you. So
Jeremy is the mechanism, ladies and gentlemen, in case you wonder. You know what I love about what you just said? Because, there's two things that I just picked up. The very first thing is, in the world, people hate for no reason. So I love the fact that you love for no reason, right?
No reason.
You want to spread that love. Yeah, absolutely. The second thing is there is abundance of wellness, of health, of beauty in this world. And unfortunately, it's not reported, right? And here you are sharing the good news, as we like to say. And I really, really, really appreciate that you're bringing that to light, because again, my goal, my legacy, my emotion in this world is that I do know that there's unfortunately a lot of people who are just lost in their own ways or lost in the distractions that are out there in the world. And you and I exist with our voices to bring awareness to them. This started with a vision for you. So tell me a little bit about that vision that you had from the moment you said, I'm going to go and help the world. Where are you with it today? And where do you see it in the next couple of years?
Yeah, when it all first started, it didn't hit me like as clear as it was supposed to. I guess it really was born out of my wife, and she is my hero, and she is on this quest to improve herself. And to improve herself, she has learned that you have to be uncomfortable. You have to put yourself out there. And watching her do this and just working hard and trying to overcome her limitations and grow as a human has really inspired me to do the same. And when I started to put myself out there and be uncomfortable, that's when the real learning began. And that's when it just occurred to me that we have to be a force of positivity in the world. Everybody needs to be a force of change and positivity. And people can't do that if they have no support, or if they're sick, or if they're not able to put themselves out there. So, I mean, just a little bit of support goes a long way. Can you imagine how much good you could do for the world if you did not have to work for a salary? Just let that sink in for a minute. How much good?
You're speaking my language, brother. Preach. You're speaking my language.
How much can all of you do for the world if you didn't have to work for a salary? It'd be a tidal wave of greatness out there.
Absolutely.
So that's one way we can frame it so everyone can understand. But I mean, support can start with just the smallest little bit of help.
Yeah, Jeremy, you talk a lot about people and being there and creating a culture and a community. What culture do you see yourself creating? Should you have the ability to kind of collaborate and connect with anyone that is watching right now? What is your vision of the culture that your community is creating?
Yeah, my community is in my brain is all around wellness and how to become the best person you can be. And there's several components to that. If you do a simple Google search, you can look up a wellness wheel and just read about the components on the wellness wheel. And what I want to do is put together experts in each component that will work with you and share knowledge, and a community where everyone can come together and share information, best practices, because we're all different. That's another thing I've learned. What worked for me might not work for you, might not work for Ali. So we're all different. So there's people way smarter than me out there that are willing to help and throw their hat in the ring with their specific expertise. And that's,
I love that.
That's the group I foresee.
And by the way, for you who's watching and or listening, this is a call to action for you. If you want to add your wellness element, whatever that may be, whether it's financial, whether it's health, whether it's social, marital, whatever it may be, make sure you connect with Mr. Jeremy Young and put your hat in the ring and see if there are ways that you two can collaborate and do exactly just that. Now, I got the $1 million question for you, and if you're ready for it, I'm ready for it.
Sure.
And you and I have had many personal conversations, and the one thing that I asked you was, what problem do you and only you solve? In other words, I personally am very selective in who I want to work with. And obviously, we are in a social media digital age right now where everyone is a guru and everyone had the one and only thing that no one else has. So I want to put my family and my brothers, my sisters in front of you so they can be educated and hopefully they get the value that I know you can provide. So here's what mom's going to ask. Yeah, well, what problem is he and only he going to solve for me? Then I'm going to talk to him. So tell us a little bit about, how the scars turn into solutions. What is the problem that Jeremy and only Jeremy solves?
We're the only place in the world that can develop a wellness solution that works. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. And we have no ulterior motive. We just want you to be the best you that you can be. And we have so much to offer and share, just free knowledge. And I believe knowledge should be shared.
Absolutely.
Too much information is held from us, and that's what we give you. We give you
some of the things that I think I believe that you can definitely pass on, and if you can elaborate on, one of the things that we spoke about yesterday, there was a lot of trauma that developed your character, that developed who you are. How can you, if you can, of course, just kind of give us a little bit to the best of the time that you have, for the next couple of minutes, really, that we have. There's a lot of people who get stuck in trauma and don't convert it into overcoming and wellness. You have mastered the ability to take a piece of trauma and turn it into a healing moment. And I'm going to be all right. I'm going to smile, I'm going to laugh and move on while you're healing yourself in the process, right? Tell us some about that, component of what it was and how it's become. And I think that's going to also put some perspective for that person who may be stuck on their past instead of moving forward like you are.
Sure. I mean, trauma is what shaped me for sure. And Ali, you as well. I mean, I like to say, we went through it so you don't have to. I mean,
yeah.
I never could have gotten here, I don't think, without everything that's happened to me in my past. And stuff has come at me from so many angles, I don't even know where to start. But for most of the time, I would just like get past it, like fight or flight, like just move on and don't even look at it. And that didn't work.
That's what most people do. And that's exactly where I believe your gift comes, Jeremy, is a lot of people just ignore it and move on rather than actually face it directly and cope with it. You're not going to remove pain and drama forever. You're just not. I still talk about my pain points and my, childhood issues because they're there and they shape me for who I am. They're never going to be gone. But I use them as, it's like that big luggage full of problems. You can either say, this is so heavy, or you can put it on the floor and step on it and say, I'm a little bit taller now, right? I'm going to use it. It's no longer going to be dragging me down, right? So that's what I was trying to see, from your vantage point. If you can talk to that one person that's watching right now, that's like, yeah, but Jeremy, you don't get it. What I've gone through is a lot harder, a lot more challenging, and I'm stuck, right? I'm stuck and I'm not going and moving forward. So any final remarks to that individual that's watching before we wrap it up?
Yes. Yes, you've definitely had it worse than I have. And perception is the entire battle. And there's people, like I said, way smarter than me that can help you and your perception just look at a situation differently. Let me give you a perfect example. When I was young, I witnessed violence to people that I loved, and I was very little. And I ran in there thinking I'm going to save the day, and I got knocked out. I did not save the day. And more importantly, I got physically hurt, and it was people that I love. And for years that have plagued me and plagued me and plagued me until I talked to the right people. And one man told me, Jeremy, don't you see how courageous that is? A 6-year-old little boy running into that violent fray, going to save the world against full adults. Don't you realize how brave and courageous that is? And after I saw it from that side, I have goosebumps now. It was like a warm rush over my body. I just saw it from a different perception. And I've learned to be grateful for all of my negative experiences, which was very hard to learn. But gratitude is really the attitude. It sounds cliche,
absolutely,
but that is what it's all about. Those moments shaped me into this positivity, this instrument of change. And I'm going to drive the world as hard as I can to get there. I mean, we've got to make a change. It's evident. I think we all feel it.
Yeah. There's no perfect human being out there. Just so you know, we were born imperfect, and we are perfectly imperfect. Jeremy, is it okay if anybody wants to reach out to you for communication advice? Obviously, your name is right in there. We're gonna put your social media assets and your website in the comments. Anybody at any time, recorded or live, any questions you may have, just drop it in the comments. Jeremy is gonna be part of this communication wherever you're watching it from, and definitely we'll make sure that you are connected with him. Jeremy, I am so grateful and honored that you gave me the premiere debut of Jeremy Young's a new branding and path and journey of healing and helping the masses, whether it's just from a conversation or whether it's collaboration or whether it is actual practicing what you have. But I'm so grateful for you, and I genuinely will remind you in a year from now when this comes out in our memories, and I'm gonna send it to you. I'm like, and this is where it all started, and you're gonna say, I can't believe that I am where I am right now, because I don't see that from back then. So thank you so much. We appreciate you and grateful for you. And until next time, hey, do me a favor. Tell them peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
All right, everybody. See y'all later.